Hello, welcome back. Uh, in this, we will learn some metallurgical aspect of the steel. There is a definite need for engineer or architect uh, to involve in who is involved in structural steel work to acquaint themselves with some metallurgical aspects of the steel. Now, this knowledge will help them to decide on a particular aspect in a better way. So as I say, this will basically help the structure engineer or the architect to understand the ductile behavior of steel and welding aspect also, because it is also required in case of fabrication and erection work of the steel, and some other important aspects of the steel technology such as corrosion and fire protection. So that is why the metallurgical aspect is very much required to understand. Well, the pure iron, when it is heated from the room temperature to its melting point, it undergoes several crystalline transformation, and it basically exhibit two allotropic forms. Now, these two allotropic forms are one is body-centered cubic crystal and the other one is face-centered cubic crystal. As you can see in the figure, the steel is having two allotropic form, and these two allotropic form is basically depends on the temperature of the steel. So at a certain temperature, one form can exist. At the other temperature, the other form can exist. So this allotropy of iron is basically depends on the temperature. So I will show you the graph. So here, as you can see in the graph of allotropy of iron, so iron up to a temperature of 910 degrees Celsius, it remains as a ferrite. Up to 910 degrees Celsius, it remains as ferrite. Basically, iron is converted into four categories: alpha, beta, gamma, and delta iron. So alpha iron is termed when iron is up to a temperature of 768. If the temperature rises and goes to 910, the iron will be known as beta iron. Now, why these names are given to iron? Because in these four stages, iron behaves differently. So, for example, in case of iron, up to a temperature of 768, the iron is magnetic, but if above this temperature, it becomes non-magnetic. So this point is called Curie point. So alpha iron is also known as ferrite. Well, beta iron is of no special significance, so that is why I'm considering this, that alpha is up to 910 degrees Celsius. So up to 910 degrees Celsius, the alpha iron will be termed as ferrite, and this ferrite is basically very soft. Then the iron above 910 degrees Celsius is known as gamma iron. So 910 degrees Celsius to 1400 degrees Celsius, it will be termed as gamma iron. Now this gamma iron is also known as austenite. Okay, it is also known as austenite, and austenite is harder than the alpha iron. The carbon content is more. Similarly, above 1400 degrees Celsius, the iron converted into other form which is called uh, delta iron. Now here you can see in the alpha iron, the structure, the allotropic structure of iron is BCC, and in the austenite you can see The structure is FCC. FCC is the face centered. Now, interestingly, when iron is above 1400 degrees Celsius, it again changes its structure and again converted to BCC. So that is why the delta iron is known as this delta iron is very similar to the alpha iron. Above 1539 degrees Celsius, it is converted as a liquid form, and 1539 degrees Celsius to 2700 degrees Celsius, it is in the liquid form. Above 27 degrees Celsius, it converted into the gaseous form. Okay, so this is basically the allotropy of iron that we have to understand. And now some terms that I will be using in the next slides, you should be familiar now, like alpha iron, gamma iron, delta iron. So alpha iron is also known as ferrite, gamma iron is also known as austenite. Then some other terms I will also be using, like martensite, perlite. So I will discuss what is that. So all these terms are related to the steel with different temperature. Like material is same, but the structure of material is changes as per the change of temperature. So we will see that. So now we will talk about the alpha iron. Now this alpha iron is, we can say that it is basically pure iron with body centered cubic crystal structure, which is BCC, and it is stable at all temperature up to 910 degrees Celsius. As I told you that beta iron is included into alpha, so we will consider that alpha iron up to 910 degrees Celsius, it is stable. And the carbon solubility in ferrite depends upon the temperature. Now ferrite is alpha iron, so that is why I'm saying the carbon solubility in ferrite depends upon the temperature. The maximum solubility of carbon is 0.02% at 723 degrees Celsius. So in this case, one can say that ferrite is basically very pure. There is no traces of carbon, like less than 0.02% is negligible. So here you can see the structure of iron in case of ferrite form. So in the case of ferrite form, this form is known as lattice iron. So there you can see these are the iron atom. There is no atom of carbon. There is no presence of carbon. So that is why it is called pure form of iron, and it is very soft, very ductile, and the mechanical or the strength of this iron is very low. Now coming to the next iron, which is called gamma iron. Gamma iron is present between the temperature of 910 degrees Celsius to 1400 degrees Celsius. So this gamma iron is also known as austenite, and this austenite is a face-centered cubic structure. It is also known as FCC, and it is sorry, it is stable at temperature above 723 degrees Celsius and up to 1400 degrees Celsius. So depending upon the carbon content, it can dissolve up to 2% of carbon. So now you can see in case of alpha iron, only 0.02% can be consumed, while in case of gamma iron, it can consume, or it can the carbon can be up to 2% of carbon can be dissolved, or can be, it is basically soluble. Carbon is soluble up to 2% in this form of iron. Now coming to the structure of steel. Now structure of steel is composed of iron and carbon. So now as the steel is basically alloy, in the steel iron act as a solvent, carbon act as a solute. So there you can see the green portion is of iron atom, and the blue portion is of carbon atom. So there you can see when this atom is not present in the structure of steel, the steel is very soft in the form of ferrite. But once this atom is added, the this lattice form of steel, it get strengthened. Why? Because this space is basically filled by carbon atom, and carbon atom is smaller than iron atom. So the smaller this space is filled by carbon. So what happens is when the space is filled by carbon atom, the strength of this lattice will increase. So that is why one can say that the steel is strong as compared to normal iron. Why? Because of the presence of carbon atom, and it basically provides the mechanical strength. But also we can say it is the structure of lattice is also distorted using because of the presence of the carbon atom. So that is why the presence of carbon is very important in case of steel, as it provides hardness, it provides strength to the steel. So now we know if we provide more carbon, there will be more strength. Now this more strength will be in terms of hardness. Steel will be very hard. Steel will have more strength, but at the same time, the ductility of the steel will be low. As you can see in the previous diagram, as I have shown, there you can see uh, the pure form of ferrite, and this can be ductile. So this kind of deformation can happen in this case. But in case of steel with the presence of carbon, the ductility decreases, but at the same time it provides the mechanical strength. So there you can see maximum carbon solubility up to a temperature of 723 degrees Celsius, only 0.02%. When the temperature rises, the carbon solubility increases as up to 2%. If we further increase the temperature, then the carbon solubility can increase to some more extent. Now there is a term called cementite. So as I told you in the previous slide, that if we further increase the temperature of steel or iron, say more than 1400 degrees Celsius, then the carbon solubility will increase, and this solubility may go up to 6.67%. So iron carbide forms at this percentage, and this will be known as cementite. Then there is another term which is being used in the steel called perlite. So this perlite is basically a fine mixture of ferrite and cementite. You understand? Perlite is basically a mixture of cementite and ferrite. And it has lamellar structure. Now, what is meant by lamellar form? Here, this form means it is composed of fine alternating layers. This perlite is usually formed during the slow cooling of iron alloy, and it began to form at a temperature of 1150 degree Celsius to 723 degree Celsius, depending upon the composition of the alloy. So there you can see steel is composed of ferrite plus perlite. Perlite is responsible for the strength. Ferrite is responsible for the ductility. Okay. Now perlite and ferrite both are same material but at different temperature, and that is why they have different property. Now coming to the heat treatment of steel. This heat treatment is basically responsible for the changes in the microstructure of steel, as basically it is basically the function of cooling. The way you cool the steel, the structure of steel will change. So there are basically some terms that are related to the heat treatment of steel, which are being used for the production of the steel. So first term is annealing. So this annealing is in the process, the steel is heated to a temperature just greater than 910 degrees Celsius, and it is held at the temperature to achieve uniformity of composition. Usually in the furnace, it is being done. So this process refine perlite plus ferrite microstructure and increase strength of ductility of steel. So there you can see perlite plus ferrite structure is known as steel, and to enhance the property of steel, we perform this annealing process. Then the next process which is being used on the heat treatment is called normalizing. Now this process is very similar to annealing, except that in normalizing, the steel is removed from the furnace and it is allowed to cool in steel I mean it is allowed to cool in still air. The process gives finer grain structures and finer lamination in the perlite. This process basically gives finer structure. Now normalizing is basically cheaper than annealing, basically because less energy is consumed in this case. So that is why this normalizing process is cheap. The another term which is used in the heat treatment is very famously known as quenching. Now quenching involves the rapid cooling of metal to adjust the mechanical property of its original state. So this quenching is done to sudden cooling of the metal. So now this sudden cooling can be done using the water or using the oil quenching, using the oil. So now you can see sudden cooling of water induce some internal stress, and also at the same time the structure of steel becomes very hard, and this structure leads to the new term called martensite. So the new form of steel is called martensite. So now this martensite is basically one can say it is formed in the steel when the cooling rate from austenite is sufficiently fast. So austenite, what was the austenite? Austenite was the steel at a temperature more than 900 degrees Celsius. So at that time it was austenite, and if we cool austenite suddenly using the water, then the form becomes martensite. Similarly, oil quenching can also be done. So different oil have different cooling rate for the steel. The another important property or the important process which is being used in the heat treatment is called tempering. So this tempering is basically a process of heat treatment, and it is used to increase the toughness of iron based alloys. So this tempering is basically done to increase the toughness of the steel, and it is basically performed after the hardening. I mean the steel is cooled and then again reheat. We again reheat it below the critical temperature, that may be around 150 degrees Celsius, and then again we allow to cool it. So this process is called tempering. So here in this graph, we can see the heat treatment process using different ways. Here you can see in the This is basically the time in the second on the x-axis. There you can see this is basically the time and this is the temperature. So temperature get down depends on the process of heat treatment. So in case of full annealing, it takes very large time to get cool. In the normalized process, also at the same time you can see the structure of steel forms. In case of annealing, coarse perlite. In case of normalizing, perlite form is fine. Basically the grains of perlite is fine in case of normalizing. In case of annealing, they are coarse, basically COAR, coarse. And in case of oil quenching, martensite plus perlite forms. In case of water quenching, martensite forms. So in the next part, we will discuss chemical and physical property of the steel. Thank you.